beginning of the video, okay? Right here. Real men don't wear gloves. Yo, my hands are like leather. I don't feel anything. When you're handling bricks like this, it's really important to have a good set of gloves. If you don't, you're gonna be tearing up your hands something fierce. Check this out. These are just a cheap pair of gloves that I used because I burned through these ones. After just one day's use, this little finger hole opened up. So that could be my skin. It doesn't hurt to get a multi-pack of gloves because gloves don't last super long when you're doing this type of work. If you want to lay edging stones like this around your garden, these are the steps you need to take. You need to dig out the hole, okay? First, you need a trench that's 3 inches deep for rocks and 1 inch deep for sand. So we need 4 inches down, okay? Second, you have to tamper it down. Boosh, boosh, boosh. Then you move on to your stone layer. Your stone layer, you put 3 inches, you tamper that down 1 inch at a time. You put 1 inch, you tamper it, another inch, you tamper it, another inch, you tamper it. That's what we have here. Third, you move on to your sand. You lay your construction sand down. Not play sand, construction sand. This stuff hardens with water. So you lay this down, 1 inch, and then you're good to lay your bricks. Then you carefully lay your bricks with a small level and a large level, making sure that everything is perfectly unison. This is my tamper. Before I lay any edging stones or any patio stones, I always make sure to push the dirt down. What this is doing is it's making the dirt into undisturbed soil. So a big key is digging a trench larger than your tamper. If you don't dig a large enough hole for your tamper, it's just not going to fit inside. And then what you're going to end up doing is squishing with your foot when really that doesn't do the trick. Only a tamper gets the job done. And if you're doing right, you should be shaking the house. And in between each layer of stone that you tamper down, it's really important that you water the area. That way it pushes it down. Like picture each time you hit the ground, it's adding more years to the ground. So you want it to be perfectly flat and perfectly hard so that when you lay those stones, they're literally not going anywhere. Whenever I'm using my tamper, I always hit it on the ground like this. I raise it about a foot off the ground and I let the center of gravity do the work. Then I just push down, okay? You're gonna feel a mad workout here when you do it. And what I always do is I lift up and I hit and I just move over 3 to 4 inches each time. It seems like a lot, but you move pretty quick when you get into your groove. So if you're using this thing right, people should come out of your house saying, "You're shaking our house!" It's really important to work when the temperatures are nice. If you work in the hottest day of the year, you'll destroy your body and you won't last any more than an hour. So work in reasonable temperatures. When you're digging out your trench for your edging stones and you need to figure out how wide it needs to be, I'll give you a tip. It's not the size of your brick, okay? It's the size of your tamper. Your tamper needs to be able to fit inside the groove. If it doesn't, you won't be able to smash the ground, okay? So if you need to dig a bigger hole to allow for your tamper, do it like I did. And then afterwards, when you lay your brick, they're literally not going anywhere. Also, give yourself an inch on both sides as leeway, because if you don't give yourself an inch, you might hit the edges and you'll be knocking dirt into your rocks. So make sure you avoid that by giving yourself an extra inch. That way when you hit the ground, there's room and you won't make any errors. When you're laying edging stones, a lot of your time is spent on the ground. So make sure you get yourself a good pair of knee pads. You just need something that you can kneel on that's nice and soft, that isn't a hard cement pad with rocks on it. All right, now come over here. Nice and close. And show the front of this. Yeah, that's not perfect to me. That should be perfectly centered, and it's not. It's a little bit almost touching this line. A big tip that I can give you, use a brush. If something's not level, oftentimes it's because your bricks aren't clean. Stuff like this. Dirt gets put on a stone, and the level's not working properly because it's literally not flat. So make sure you dust off your bricks, or else you might not get an accurate reading from your level. One key point to laying edging stones nice and flat is having a short level. The level has 3 different levels on it so that when you lay it flat like this, you could actually see whether it's level front to back as well as side to side and the diagonal. The idea is that you want all 3 bubbles to be in the very center. It's pretty hard, but once you get in the groove, it becomes a lot easier. One that's not level, so will look like that. And the idea is you always want to push in the direction that the bubble is in. So the bubble is on this far left side here. All I do is push over in that direction, and there goes the bubble. Now this bubble is on this far bottom here. If I was to lift it up, then it would go in the center. And essentially you'll want it to be in everything all centered. So when I'm laying edging stones, in addition to my small level, I always make sure I work with my big level. So the larger level helps me to level out the sand. I put the sand down and then I just shimmy this back and forth until this is basically level. The second thing I use my large level for is to make sure that all my bricks on the whole are level. Because each brick individually may be level, but if one is level perfectly like this and the next one's like this and the next one's like that, they have to be all in unison. So all of this has to be perfectly level in the very center. It's the full level. A super common thing for people to do is to use their small level, and they'll use the slide method. If it slides past, then it should be perfect. Well, that's not always the case. And sometimes there's a difference of like just a 1/16 of an inch or a 32nd of an inch. And over 10 or 12 bricks, you can really see a difference. And especially if you use a level like this, it's rounded off at the edges, so it actually slides pretty well. If you go like this, there's a good chance that it may not hit anything, but you may be an 1/8 of an inch off over time, you know? So make sure you use a longer level to ensure that your bricks are straight in unison, and that way when you put your second layer on, it looks perfect. When you're laying edging stones around your garden, you should always have approximately 3 inches of stone and 1 inch of sand. But not all sand is created equal, so it's really important that you get the right sand. Most sand in Home Depot and Rona that you see is normally play sand, sand that you put in a sandbox, but it's not for construction use. You need construction sand, which is, I believe they call angular sand. Not quite sure the science behind it, but what I do know is once it gets wet, it hardens like a rock. Check this out. We had a couple bags that got wet. We salvaged what we could, but that's hard as a rock, and that is sand, okay? So once you put your bed of sand down and then you lay your bricks on top, that becomes hard as a rock afterwards, okay? So essentially it's like cement. This is the sand we used. It's by Sacrete Sand Mix. Mélange ciment sable. Understanding the difference between these building materials is the difference between having bricks that sink when it rains or having bricks that are rock solid. When you're ordering construction materials for a landscape project, one of the worst things you could do is order it too early. You need somewhere safe to put the stuff because if it rains, your stuff could harden like a rock. That's sand. That should be soft, but it's rock solid because it was left in the rain. There was a tarp over top of it, but literally just the moisture in the air turned this into a rock. So it's really important not to waste your materials. Order what you need when you need it and get the job done. If you're doing multi-layers of edging stone, I urge you to use landscape glue. We use this glue to adhere this stone to these stones. And I also stagger them too. That way it makes sure that one stone is connected to two others. Check this out. So I'm putting all my weight into it. I'm 180 pounds. They didn't budge. And I didn't use very much. I put one line here and one line at the top, and I think I did a quick zigzag through the middle. One tip I can give you though is to stay away from the edges. If you go too close, it could squeeze out the seams. Do you notice the difference between these two bricks? One is in perfect condition, and the other one is actually broken. That sucks, right? What every good construction person does is he uses this brick anyways. I'm not gonna go back and return it like a clown. I'm gonna take it and I'm gonna put it in and I'm gonna use the product. And every good construction worker knows how to make something broken look good. So for instance, when I install these, sometimes a certain half might not be seen as much. So instead of installing the brick like this, why not flip the brick over and reveal the good side and hide the damaged part under sections of brick that aren't actually seen.
Par le page.
So here we are with the damaged piece. Boom, right there. So I have two strategies. I could either lay it so that it's underground, or I can lay it in such a way that it's on the back side. So what I would do is, the damage is here. What I would do is I'd turn it around and I'd lay this on the bottom so that no one sees it. And then the side that people see is this side, which goes right there. And there you go. You hide a broken piece without making people's lives a miserable mess. I'd like to return my one brick, please. It's chipped. Like, give me a break. When you order skids of bricks, it's inevitable you're gonna have some chipped bricks, okay? Where to find those chipped bricks? At the bottom. They're always at the bottom. The majority of the weight is pressing down towards the bottom. The shifting, the moving of trucks, you'll always find your chipped ones at the bottom. So keep that in mind. Separate your bricks best you can, but try to use the chipped ones where they're not seen. If there's ever a time where you need to cut these edging stones, which there will be, you need to know how. That's what it looks like when you cut it in half. To cut this in half, I use my grinder and I put a diamond bit on it. And then all I do is I trace out my edge, I cut as deep as I can, all the way around. Then I make sure I grab my stone chisel and I break it to separate the two. Once that happens, you'll get a section that's a little bit rough. So what you make sure you do is take your grinder and you grind along this edge to scrape away any type of lumps or anything that you might have. If your chisel is sharp enough, you could use that, but I use my grinder. I thought it was a lot easier. Also, a huge tip that I can give you is make sure you give yourself an extra 1/4 inch or something, because these little lumps really make the difference. And when you're trying to squeeze that brick in, these little lumps could get in the way of that brick squeezing in the way it's supposed to. Have a look at this one.